Hello, my friends. I want to talk about busyness. All right? It's everywhere you go, it's out of everybody's mouths. What have you been up to? Oh, just busy, busy, busy. I mean, can any of us even get together anymore? We are so busy. And especially in the church, okay? If you are a pastor, if you are in some kind of a position where you are the 10% that does all the stuff at church, you are probably too busy. And you probably think that it's the way it's supposed to be, that that's the life of servitude. And you don't know how to do it any other way because honestly, you know you need to cut something out, but then when you start thinking about it, you're like, I don't know what I can cut out. I don't know what to cut out. I know that I'm too busy. I know that my frustration level is high and it feels like everything's just out of whack. But I don't know how to get any balance in it. Okay? You're not alone. That's a lot of us. That's a lot of people. I'm just now starting to learn how to come out of that. And not that I've found a balance, but I know what too busy is like. So let me just speak from that experience for a moment. Just a couple of years ago, I had my own business. I had an art gallery. I had 2 little kids and I homeschooled, and I was also very active in the church and community. You know, meetings, just stuff takes your time up so much. And I was burnt out, really burnt out and stressed, and didn't know what I could cut out of it. So I'm not going to get into that yet. But I think the church has a misguided model of servitude, and it's everywhere. You know, you watch pastors on YouTube or TV, and there's all these books out, and it has become such the norm that I don't think that we even realize what we're doing is sinful. Saying yes to everything might mean we're saying no to God and to His Word. It's a hard thing to beat down. I understand. Okay, so I have these questions written down, and I would like you to really think about this. Just, you know, maybe you're not too busy. Maybe you need to get involved in your church and free up some of these people that are doing all the work. You know, there's the 10% that do everything, and you might think they don't need the help, but they do. They need you. The church needs you desperately. So maybe I'm not speaking to you right now, but maybe I am. So I have these questions. And just ask yourself these questions, please. Do you find that you just don't have much time to spend with God or study His Word, not as much as you'd like to? Do you feel like you aren't able to take care of yourself and your family adequately? Like make some healthy meals or just spend good time together, really enjoy it, to rest, to relax. You just don't have the time. Not regularly, I mean. I'm not talking about seasons of life. I'm talking about regularly. Are you mentally or emotionally stable enough to support friends and family well? Do you seem to have to put off important projects or goals for months at a time? Maybe years? Oh. Okay, here's a really good one. This is a dead ringer for somebody who is just about to be burnt out completely. Do you find yourself wanting to avoid people and all those requests? Okay, your life might be out of whack. And you need some balancing. And you're thinking, I don't know what to cut out. If I don't do it, it won't get done, and it has to be done. These things have to be done. Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe it's become so normal to us that this is the way church is done. This is the way life is done, that we don't realize it is an option. It is not necessity, okay? So if you really want to think about this with me, because I'm trying to do this in my own life, what is the priority list? Okay, we have a biblical priority list, and it's not about tasks. It's not about jobs. It's not about planning your future, making money. Nope, it's not about any of that stuff. It's always about relationships. All right? So maybe you just said, well, yes, that's where my priority is. That's why I am such a servant, because I'm trying to serve all these relationships. Okay, well, good for you. I'm glad you have such a big heart. I have a heart for that too. But here's the problem with our priority list sometimes. Sometimes it's completely upside down. Okay, real easy. You know the list. You know this. If you're a Christian, you know what the list is. It is God. We love God with all our heart, with all our strength. Okay, that's number one. That relationship is the highest priority in our day. Number two, if you have a spouse, it is your spouse in your day, in your weeks. Next, your household. Maybe that's, could be your mom living with you, your children, could be foster kids, I don't know, but whoever's in your household, those are your people. Number four, it's your church family. Your church family comes next, and then 5 are the unbelievers, the unsaved. And how many pastors and evangelists and just people with a true heart to see people come to the Lord, they have their list completely flipped upside down. The unbelievers and all of this reaching the lost, that is such an admirable thing. We need more people to work in the fields. But if God gets stuck back here at the end of your day-to-day, week-to-week priority list, hey, that day-to-day, week-to-week, month-by-month, that's a lifetime. Your life is happening. It's just going by. And I'd really have to beg the question how effective you are at winning the lost when your priority list is all out of balance. All right? I'm talking to myself here too. I'm working this out myself. Okay. So if you would say that serving your community gets the best portion of your day, and that maybe God and your spouse take the back seat for most of those days, you might be too busy. You really need to be praying about how to fix this problem. All right. If you feel like you're teaching your children something that you really don't want to with your busyness, this is important, because their strength of character and their nearness to God is being observed by what yours is. It's something to consider. So we want to reach many. I don't know if it was always like this for most of the body of believers, but we want to reach many. We want to make YouTube videos. We want to go on mission trips. We want to, reach the lost, and that's what we're commissioned to do. And that is so good. But I think that we've lost the art of discipleship. I think it's a real problem. And I would just have to say that maybe we're doing a really poor job with a massive amount of people in our lives. I'm going to say that again. Maybe we're doing a really poor job with the masses. And what we're doing isn't nearly as effective as doing a superior job with just a few in our lives. How many people can you truly disciple? This isn't the model of the early church. This isn't the model of what Paul was doing even. He spent time with people. He spent years with them. He didn't flit around to different conferences. And I'm not saying that those are bad things. I want to speak at conferences. I get to do that occasionally. I want to do these things too. But there's a balance, and the church is getting out of balance. It's there. It's there. We need to get back into back to the basics, or we're all going to burn out. We're going to be ineffective and weak. We need to get back to the basics. So what am I trying to say here? What can you cut out? I don't feel like I can cut anything out, right? Okay, so I'm just going to bring a couple of examples. These are just examples. I don't want this to offend anyone. These are just examples. It could be totally different for each of us. But let's say that your child wants to be in dance or cheerleading or, sports, theater, whatever. Your child wants to do these things. They're really good things. They're great. And you love it. Go for it. Sign up. But if you notice with all of the things that you have to do that aren't optional, if you notice that those important things are suffering because of it, you might ask yourself what you're even teaching your kids with this. Because you might be teaching them that it's okay for a family to be out of balance. You might be teaching them that things of higher importance, it's okay for them to suffer at the cost of these activities. Hobbies, these things, they're worthy goals, but they're not more important than God and relationships. You might be teaching your children that a family out of balance is normal and it's okay, but it's not. The norms of the church aren't necessarily acceptable to God. One time I had this dream. I was waking up from the dream and I saw this like rectangle. You know how there are rectangles on a Facebook feed and they just have words in them. So I wake up, I'm waking up from this dream, and there's one of those rectangles and it says, "It's not God's way, but do it anyway." This is like an anthem song for the church right now. It's not God's way, but this is the norm now. This is what we're going to do, and we don't know how to stop. All of those things, microphones, sound systems, those are great. They're very nice, but they're not necessity. Here's another example. So you just say, my spouse and I, we both have to work. There is no way we can make it on one income. We're not making it now. Let me tell you, I know that song and dance. I know exactly how that is. I was working every chance I got in every way that I could, and I was completely worn out. My frustration level was so high, and we weren't making ends meet. And now I am not doing those things. One of the first things I cut out when I was trying to get the busyness out of my life was my career, my income. Not that I don't still make a little money here and there, but I closed the gallery. We bought a home and gave up the building, and we still don't make ends meet, to be really honest with you. But the only difference that I can tell is that the chaos in my life has gone way down. I feel so much more peaceful. The family is running like a well-oiled machine. I really do think so. I mean, things aren't perfect. Goodness, things break down all the time. There's always something. But those things were happening when I had a job, and it was too much. And we didn't have any more money to spare than we do now. Go figure. Okay, so how you map your day is how you map your life, just one day at a time. So ask yourself, is this what God intended for me? Really? And if you're not sure, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Pray about this. Pray about this, because busy life, it's for the birds. This is not what God intended for the church. It's not as powerful and effective as we think it is. It's weak and it's unhealthy, and it's at a cost to all of us. Okay, so rethinking the rat race of pastoral service. Break free from these modern religious practices and the patterns of our current culture. This is not normal. I don't believe it was ever intended to be, and these things are not essential. Okay, so who is your priority? Where is your trust? If that's out of balance, you're making no one your priority, and you're not safer. It's not healthy. All right, we need to get back to basics. So I don't want this video to be too long, but this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cut out the extras and identify what the extras are. I mean, most people, whenever you look at your priority list and you know you're too busy, and most people are not going to go, okay, I'm going to quit my job. All right, but why don't you pray about that? Why don't you pray about that? Because God can make a way when there isn't any way. We tend to pray inside the box, and we have no idea what He could do that we could never even think of, that we would never even consider. Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. You mean I don't have to work this daily job? I could do something where I could make that amount of money all in a week for 3 months. I mean, there's just all kinds of things. If you will let God think for you and stop praying these prayers that are so specific. What if you're praying against the will of God? How counterproductive is that? Pray perfect prayers. Your will be done, Lord. I know I need help, but I don't know how to do it, and I need you to show me. He will. He wants to answer you. Jeremiah 33:3, call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things that you do not know. And we all need to be praying that a lot, because there's all kinds of things that we don't know. Nobody has a perfect theology. Nobody's opinions are all perfect. If you think that your opinions about the Bible and all of that you're the only one that has it all correct, but you know, this person's got a little off there, everybody but you. Somehow you're not believing any lies right now. Come on. You're believing all kinds of lies right now. I'm believing all kinds of lies right now. Lord, what's the next thing on the agenda? What do you need for me to know next? Because He's so patient and He just peels back the layers just a little at a time. It's all we can handle. That's okay. But please, I'm begging you, church, stop the craziness. This busy life is not powerful and effective. It's sick. It's weak. Begin to ask God, what can you cut out? I don't care if we have to go back to churches in tents with no sound systems and no microphones. Just a guy with a guitar and a lady singing. Let's get back to the basics, because this stuff is draining you and it's not important. Wouldn't you like to just hang out and enjoy it and not feel stressed? Wouldn't you like to just sit around and laugh like you used to when you were a kid? Did your church do that? Did they sit outside and just hang out? What is going on, church? All right, Lord, I pray whoever watches this, oh Lord, I pray that it'll reach the right ones, but I pray that the church as a whole will begin to honor your word, that we would rest, that we would honor you and respect what you have, your ways, what you have commanded. That we wouldn't put things in the wrong order just because that's the way that we've gotten used to. I pray that we would live well and we would look at the future and laugh because we wouldn't fear it. Oh Lord, help us all. Thank you for it's your good pleasure to reveal this to us. Lord, I pray if there's anyone out there that isn't saved, that's watching, that you would let them know that you're calling them right now, that you love them and you're very near and you care. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.